A US green card is a dream for many immigrants. But why? You can work and live permanently in the US. You can switch jobs as you wish. You can secure your family's future in the US and start your business, buy your property in the US, and way more. Well, today I want to break down the green card options for H1B visa holders to help you make an informed choice about settling down in the US permanently. Let's start with the H1B visa though. The most common pathway for Indian skilled immigrants, high skilled ones, to the US is the H1B visa. That said, the H1B is a temporary work visa. It's valid for 3 years and extendable for up to 6 years. Now, as a H1B dependent, your spouse and unmarried children under the age of 21 are eligible for the H4 visas to stay in the US, but your spouse cannot work right away. They can obtain an EAD though, provided you meet certain conditions. While the H1B visa offers a bunch of advantages, it also comes with severe limitations. Number one, when an H1B visa holder switches jobs to a new employer, the new employer is typically required to file a new H1B petition on their behalf. This process effectively resets the H1B timeline for the individual, plus the agility of moving into multiple jobs is just not there very easy. Now, number two, in case of layoffs or job loss, well, this is really important and this has been affecting a lot of people lately and giving a lot of sleepless nights. In case of layoffs and job loss while holding the H1B status, that's typically a 60-day grace period which comes with it, during which the individual must secure a new job or leave the country. Failure to find a new job within this grace period can result in the loss of H1B status because it is tied to your employer and you're no longer employed at that. Now, if the H1B visa holder loses their status, their dependent spouse may also lose their right to work in the US, and therefore it's almost like a complete wipeout situation. So therefore, starting your green card process earlier makes sense and provides way more freedom in terms of employment and residency in the US, because it helps you de-risk the fundamental existence in the country itself. Let's dive a little deeper into the factual data to determine what is the best green card option for you. Now, each year in the US, they set a cap of 140,000 green cards on the number available, and this is congressionally set. And these are the number of employment-based or EB categories available, green cards available. Now, India is the most populous country and it has a significant number of people, especially in the STEM fields, that are coming to the US from India. Now, what happens is that there's a substantial presence of highly skilled Indians in the US. Now, what happens is there's a substantial presence of Indians in the US. So moving on to a little more factual points here, because this is important in our analysis. Based on some studies, especially by the Cato Institute, currently the number of Indians dealing with the green card backlogs is exceeded 1.1 million. That is like 11 lakh people waiting for their green cards. Primarily, these people are in the EB2 and EB3 green card categories. Number two, new green card applications from India might face a wait time of over 134 years in the EB2 and EB3 categories. Well, if you look at the visa bulletin, it's 10 to 12 years, but then it doesn't really move month to month. It moves probably a few days or a few weeks every month, and that is the reason probably the wait times are 5x or 10x than you can actually see in the visa bulletins. Number three, with more than 1 million people in this green card queue, this situation will cause more than 134 children on their H4 dependent visas, people who necessarily weren't children that weren't born in the US, also who are on the H4 visas, they age out. And because when they age out, they are no longer eligible for the H4 status, 134,000 children on these kinds of H4 dependent visas are set to age out before their parents secure their green cards and before the children can be attached to their parents' green cards as well. So as a result of this compels them to either return to their home country or apply for some other status. Most of the people apply for an F1 status or student visa status because they are student at that point in time anyway, and they pursue their studies in the US, and then despite your parents being in the US for so long, these people have to go through the regular path of the F1 to the H1B to the green card kind of status, the same pain that we went through, and their parents obviously also are going through right now. Upon reaching the age of 21, this is the issue that they face. So, but when you examine the EB2 and EB3 green card requirements, you will not only find that they require employer sponsorship, but employer sponsorship also requires labor certification. So you need to also undergo this time-consuming perm process before you're filing the 140 application with USCIS, which is actually the first real step towards proving eligibility for a green card in most cases. So if you wish to switch to a new employer while your EB2 or EB3 green card is in process, your new employer will need to start the entire green card process again in the EB2 and EB3. So what is the practical solution to get the US green card in a reasonable time frame? Now, I know I've talked about a lot of painful scenarios here, but is there really hope in light of all of this? So that is where the EB1A green card comes in as a huge relief as of now, and I can confidently say that yes, there is hope. All is not lost, and this is a legitimate path which helps you grow in your career as well as use that growth to fuel an ambitious, extraordinary ability EB1A green card journey. So there are a bunch of reasons why this is really interesting. EB1A allows you to self-petition your green card application and doesn't need you to be dependent on an employer who do their own drama when it comes to green card applications. It allows you to self-petition your green card application. You don't need a job offer or labor certification that comes with it as well, which cuts down the time. And for EB1A, the day when you file your 140 application with USCIS is your priority date. Unlike EB2 and EB3, where the perm application date becomes the priority date, and the perm application itself takes a long time to get adjudicated as well. So a lot of people also bring me this question: what about EB1 retrogression? Yes, the EB1 retrogression was observed recently. There are a couple years of wait going on. But if you look at it in the context of the broader EB1 date movements, in the January 2024 visa bulletin, you could note a substantial advancement of EB1 final action dates. And it was like about 3.8 years, contrasting to EB2 and EB3 final action dates for Indians, which only saw very minimal movement, a few months. So all is to say that the EB1 is very volatile in both directions. It does move quickly, it does leapfrog forward, and that gives you a significant advantage to file for your green card and get done with this drama once and for all in a legitimately material way, because you'll have built your profile to qualify for this extraordinary bar that USCIS has set as well. So in the January visa bulletin, it is evident that EB1 or EB1A final action dates are progressing more rapidly than that of EB2 and EB3. So don't let this temporary retrogression sway your decision making. I know so many people who just play to the whims of the visa bulletin, and in 1 month they would feel like working on the EB1A, the next month they would not feel like working on the EB1A because the dates went back, and then the dates leapfrog forward after a bunch of months, and now they regret not doing their EB1A, because if they had worked on it, then they probably would have been ready to make use of the current date a few months later, which now they aren't, because they were just sitting around waiting for the green card date on EB1A to become current, and when actually it became current, they weren't prepared to meet it with a very well-made profile. So that's why you should consider choosing the EB1A green card pathway as a quick route for permanent residency in the US. So finally, what is it that you even need to qualify for the EB1A? See, the EB1A is intended for people with extraordinary ability in diverse fields. It could be arts, it could be education, business, sports, whatever it is. That said, to qualify for the EB1A, you need to prove your exceptional ability in that field of expertise. So despite the stringent requirements of EB1A that the government sets, you can strategically build your profile legitimately towards the EB1A to meet the requirements. And according to recently released USCIS data, EB1A approval rates are now, I think, between the 60 to 75% mark, which is actually not a bad ratio, which means majority of the applications that are being filed are getting approved. So as we wrap up, if you are seeking professional guidance beyond just one-on-one coaching to effectively develop your EB1A profile, just take a minute and explore our Smart Green Card program's VIP plan. This is where we help you get a dedicated team that works with you hand in glove like partners until you get your success. So I hope this video helped you to choose the right green card option that aligns with your interests. We'll meet you soon in another useful video, as I always put out pretty much on a daily basis now. So definitely subscribe to my YouTube channel, and until then, stay tuned. This is Saiman Shetty signing off. Peace.